In this land, only 3 sounds are allowed to exist. Wind scraping stone, gravel rolling underfoot, and breath. And yet there is a 4th sound, the one you hear only when you realize you've been chosen. Because the ruler here doesn't roar, and it doesn't warn. It strikes, ends you, vanishes as if it was never there at all. His name is Haxorus. Haxorus wasn't born cold. It was forged cold by a place that demands one decision above all others: be brutal or be gone. This story begins back when it was still an Axu. At first, Axu survives in a pack, not out of affection, but out of efficiency. One watches the wind, the movement. Another tracks rockfalls and shifting ground. And one slips out to hunt young sandeel. Or scraps with Scraggy right on the edge of territory. In a world like this, each body is a link in a chain. But then the dry season arrives, and the chain begins to tighten. Now the water line drops, and the stream becomes a thin vein cutting through stone. Maractus wilt. A herd of hippopotamus retreats deeper into sand, and prey seems to evaporate overnight. So the pack does what survival demands. It calculates. Every split of food leaves one Axu hungrier, and every hunger makes one shove harder. And eventually, the pack does the most natural thing in this land. It culls itself. There are no tears and no speeches, just one Axu pushed to the earth, and a silence that moves in to fill every space inside it. But being separated isn't freedom. It's a sentence. No information, no water route, no shelter cave. By day, it avoids adult crocodile. By night, Zwilus drives it through stone corridors like prey. So Axu survives on one skill, sharpened into instinct. A short sprint, a hard angle, and vanish. Pressure keeps stacking until the body has no choice but to change. Tusks thicken, the jaw locks tighter, and the footwork stabilizes. Cleaner, sharper, more certain. Axu evolves into fracture. But evolution here is not a reward. It's simply a ticket into a harder level of the same brutal game. Then, for a moment, fracture finds something priceless. A hidden groundwater seam. And with it, a stable line of prey. Here, Boldor comes down to lick minerals from the rock. Here, Drilber digs close to the wet edge. drawn in by what the earth is hiding. For the first time, Fracture believes it has won. But in this land, possession is never permanent, because something stronger arrives. An old Haxorus, tusks worn, body still, like part of the cliff itself. It doesn't need to fight, it only needs to stand there, and everything becomes its property: water, food, and permission to remain. And now Fracture learns the rule it will never forget. You can lose a fight, but you cannot lose the source of life. So Fracture lunges, fast, clean, and without warning. It is crushed. It's forced away from the water, driven toward the edge of its last breath. And right there, at the limit, the body signs a new contract with nature. Tusks lengthen into axe blades, the neck thickens into armor, and the eyes cool by one more degree. Fracture evolves into Haxorus. Not to hunt, but to make sure no one ever steals its right to exist again. From that day on, Haxorus hunts in a single rhythm. Close in, burst. End, disappear. It moves more than most creatures expect. It travels, it searches, and it strikes with speed, cutting away before anything can respond. Soon, Excadrill vanishes from the fields. The crocodile roots bend away. Caves empty after a single hit and run, as if the land itself has learned to step back. Haxorus doesn't claim territory with flags. It claims it with absence. And then something strange happens. Everything avoids it, even its own kind. Because living near Haxorus means living beside a decision that could erase you from the world without hesitation. The apex reaches the top, but the top is so cold that no one wants to stand there with it. Now a younger Haxorus appears, faster, bolder, hungrier for authority. There is no ritual and no roar, only distance erased in a single charge. Two shadows collide. Stone cracks and dust burst upward like cannon smoke. They don't circle, they collide. Axe blades meet axe blades, bone on bone. The younger Haxorus drives in with perfect timing, and the older braces. Too late, and then the fourth sound tears through the air. Crack. Not stone, not earth. A tusk, weapon, reputation, the language of dominance, snaps at the base. In 1 second, the rules change. The symbol becomes measurable again, and so it is pushed out. No cave, no water route, no place to stand still and make the world step back. An apex without territory becomes a massive engine of hunger, dragging consumption behind it. It can still sprint, still burst, still finish. But now every burst is spent buying one more day, not ruling kingdom. In the end, Haxorus doesn't die to a worthy enemy. It dies to the one force that outlasts every apex, the environment, because this land doesn't care how long you stood at the top. It asks one question only. Are you still compatible? Haxorus was powerful, but its power was built too perfectly for a world that changed. And when the world changes, the most specialized creatures break first. Nature's message is colder than stone. The survivor isn't the strongest. It's the one who adapts best. So when the world no longer makes space for you, do you fight it or do you disappear?